Hi, my name is Everett Abrams. I'm the Wizard of Wood. My company is Deck Restoration Plus. Today, I want to talk to you about stripping wood and how stripping applies to the industry as it is today versus what it was years ago. Years ago, everybody used basically the same products in regards to being an oil-based product, and not many water-based products were being used. Most of the strippers at that point were sodium hydroxide based, and they worked very effectively at removing the oil-based sealers and stains that were used. In 2009, the government changed the compliance in regards to how stains and sealers are manufactured. And what that created for the industry was things that were working in the past now weren't working, and there was a move to more water-based products and being more environmentally friendly. So in today's market, we're still dealing with the oils that were down, previously applied. We have oils that are still being used, and we also have many more water-based products being used. Those water-based products do not strip as easily with the sodium hydroxide, so we now use a different type of stripper, or a solvent-based stripper. And there are different solvent-based strippers. So in today's industry, what we have is we have many people who haven't stayed educated and up with the times and are still trying to use sodium hydroxide to take off these water-based stains and sealers. So basically what they're doing is trying to take a square peg and put it in a round hole, and that'll never work. So today I want to talk to you about stripping in today's world. So we still use the sodium hydroxide based strippers, and we now use solvent-based strippers. The solvent-based strippers are now catching up with the rest of the industry in the fact that they can be applied with an airless sprayer and are more easily used than they were, say, in 2010, 2011, when we started using a lot of more of the water-based products. Most of the water-based products are film forming. They're on the top. They don't remove very easily. They take a long dwell time. There's still going to be sanding involved. And I'm not saying right now, depending on multiple coats and so forth, that you're still not going to have to sand. But that was the same case with the oil-based stains. Oil-based stains, if there was multiple coats, you would still have to get 70, 80% off and then have to sand a little bit because you didn't want to keep putting stripper onto the wood surfaces. So sanding may still be involved. So today, what I'm going to do is just a quick, brief demonstration, the old stripper, the new stripper, how they're applied, and then I'll show you what I did with some wood and where I removed some of it earlier. So that's what we'll do. If you have a deck, you're going to find multiple issues with the deck when you go to them. You might have multiple coats where you had a natural underneath and then a solid. You may have the semi-solids that are on, or multiple coats. In these cases, sometimes, especially now, the sodium hydroxide based strippers will not work as effectively as the solvent based strippers. Now, one thing about solvent based strippers is you can use these also in an environmentally friendly form as well, which are excellent around waterways and other delicate areas that we didn't have that option before. So there are products out there that do that. And I just want to show you what the difference would be on each one. The sodium hydroxide based stripper, basically we would apply with a pump-up sprayer. We may brush it on. We apply it. It should be wet. We keep it wet. And then we allow for a certain dwell time, and that would be anywhere probably from 20 minutes up to 45 minutes, depending on the coats or multiple coats or the type of product you're trying to get off. And one thing with sodium hydroxide based strippers is they need to be wet to be active. If they do dry out, application of a little bit of water or misting water on it will let that continue to work. So that would normally sit for, again, that desired dwell time. The solvent-based strippers, they can either be brushed on, rolled on, or also, like I said, airless sprayer. And basically they're white in nature, and they're applied to the wood and then allowed to dwell for 1 hour up to sometimes 24 hours. That will eat through a few coats. When we do apply these, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll do them later in the afternoon, put a tarp or plastic over top of them, and then come back the next day for removal. It makes it much easier. It's just adjusting the way we do things. The bottom line is, though, where we're going with these is there's painters out there, there are people in the power washing industry, there are others in other industries that have been doing deck restoration and wood restoration, exterior, and are not keeping up with the times and the fact that there are strippers that are still out there to do these things. So what I'm finding out now is I'm going to customers and they're telling me that the painters specifically, mostly, and others are telling them that, hey, we don't strip, it's too late, you just have to paint over it, or solid stain over it, and they're just going right over top of these things. Now the problem being with that in most cases is the stain wants to grab the wood. So if you're going to do a solid stain or a paint, you should put a primer down first and then put the new coat. The primer gives it a new surface. I find in many cases people are just slapping a solid stain on and then they're leaving. Problem is there's already a barrier here. There's already old stain, so that it's just sitting on the top of this and it peels more often and prematurely rather than grabbing the wood. My point is today is a lot of people say, hey, we can't go back to the original wood. Yeah, you can. We can still get back to the original wood. It's a matter of using the tools we have in our arsenal, and that is using either a sodium hydroxide-based stripper for an oil base or a solvent-based stripper for a water base. Sometimes we'll use a combination of both for multiple coats. But it's a matter of changing how we do things, applying it at night, letting a longer dwell time, removing it the next day. All in all, it's going to cost the customer a little bit more money to get it done, but this is how we would do it to get the desired result. You do not have to stain over it. You do not have to paint over it. We can do the effective removal with this. So this would be stripped. We would rinse it. We would apply a brightener, brighten the wood back to the natural tone and color of the wood, and then we would allow it to dry and stain. On this, we would actually scrape off, pressure wash off, maybe agitate with a brush and scrub it, and then remove it, and then that would take that off as well. So that's how we would do that, and that's just, again, would be a longer dwell time. It was just to show you how that application works. Now, what I did earlier was I cut a piece of this wood off, and it had the brown stain on the side, as you can see, okay? And then what I did was I stripped it and brightened it, and then used the proper dwell time. So I got back to the natural color of the wood, and you see this is dark, but when you let the brightener and so forth on, that's what the wood will come back to. Can be done. It's just a matter of changing how we do things and education and knowing that there are products out there that will effectively get you the desired result. So if you have questions in regards to stripping wood, just give us a call. Our office is toll-free, 866-440-3325. Again, my name is Everett Abrams, the Wizard of Wood. Be glad to talk to you about how to properly strip the wood, or visit our website at www.deckrestorationplus.com, and you can see other samples of where we've done this as well on the website. Thank you. Have a great day.